Right, welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year, everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how I was able to spend under £150 and get a dramatically new camera angle for my moto vlog footage. And I'm really chuffed with it. I really love a bargain, and I'm almost the opposite in terms of, to most people, I don't want to spend money on gear. I want to spend as little as possible. And I'll explain why in a minute. I'll explain the history of the cameras that I've had and how I've tried really not to overinvest in gear while running this motorcycle YouTube channel. So I had a couple of GoPro Hero 7s and they just put in the work. I had one on my chin mount and one on the handlebar mount, and I just swapped between the two of them, and it got like quite nice, interesting footage. It's just when it was coming up to 2024, those cameras were looking a little bit dated. Everyone else was using the new DJI and the Insta360. I'll tell you why I'm laughing in a minute. Basically, my footage was looking a bit crap. So I watched all the videos, as you guys do, and I decided to upgrade and move away from GoPro into DJI, thinking that DJI was sort of the solution. And we all know GoPro's a little bit lambasted online. You know, everybody says poor battery life, glitchy, that the sensor's a little bit small, subscription model, overheating issues. Everyone complains about GoPro, and they all sing the praises of Insta360 and DJI. The only problem is, at least with Insta360, the sponsored reviews were deceiving the public. They were listing objective reviews saying it was non-sponsored, but secretly they were being paid by Insta360. So it's a bit of a scandal. I suspect something similar is going on with DJI. At the very least, people are getting £1,000 worth of kit for free and then doing a review. So it might not be sponsored as in money changing hands in a brown envelope, but it is definitely a conflict of interest. So I didn't really consider this when I went to upgrade. So I sold my two GoPro Hero 7s and I believed everything I'd seen online, and I went towards DJI. I got about £100, 120 quid for two Hero 7s with a load of batteries. And then I bought one Action 5 Pro for £329 plus a little mic adapter for another 25. Now, I was a little bit careful and I didn't overinvest in this camera. I didn't buy two like I had before. I didn't buy wireless microphones. I didn't buy the moto bundle. I didn't buy spare batteries. I didn't buy a charger. I didn't buy all of the stuff that ramps your purchase price up to almost double. And I kind of did it on the cheap because I mounted the camera here and then I would just swap the camera over to there because it's magnetic clamps these days. So you clip it, then swap it. And I did that just to basically save a little bit of money, only buy one camera. Now, DJI is good. Nobody's saying it isn't. It's got the big sensor. I mean, the big sensor is a little bit of an annoying point for me, and I'll talk about that in the 360 section of this video. But it's got a bigger sensor, it's got a good battery life, and generally it works all right. I will say it is not perfect. People say it is, but they are a little bit glitchy when you connect them to the computer, particularly if you use the internal memory. The way that it's using compression and the file container, it means a lot of data is getting written to an SD card, and that SD card compatibility is not always guaranteed. You use the SD card on the DJI's listed the whitelist, the ones that are meant to work with it. Sometimes it freezes during writing and says this process is too fast for the SD card in the device. So it's really annoying. So these things are not as perfect as everybody says. So, lesson learned. I then went on to consider how I could improve my footage going into the new year. And I'd always really wanted that like sort of side angle where it's like a camera car following you on a motorcycle. And up until now, it's been really hard to achieve as a solo content creator. This is a one-man band. I come over to the thing, the camera, I can't even describe it, press the button, run over here, start talking, finish, hopefully you've seen something interesting, run back over there and press the button again. Then I do my editing and I upload, and this comes out in a video that hopefully you find interesting. Now, if I could get footage that looked like a drone or a camera car and just showing me on the bike, I just think that looks so, it's so like engaging. I just really like it. Also, when Susie's on the back doing the demo of the pillion, so we do like a little ride, it's like, okay, pillion perspective. That looks so cool, having that camera just showing us both riding together. I just thought it'd be fantastic. The problem is, and this is what stopped me doing it up until now, and let me just change the camera angle and then I'll continue the story. The problem is that investing in a 360 camera, like this little puppy up here, is gratuitously expensive. If you take the market leader, pardon me, the Insta360 X5, you're looking at 520 in English pounds, or Scottish pounds, or Welsh pounds, or Northern Irish pounds. Somebody corrected me the other day, but I'll just say in pounds, and then you've got to add the moto bundle, chargers, batteries, that kind of thing. You're going to be spending 700 quid. It is savage on what to get a 360 shot that might not even improve the quality of your content. If you're doing GoPro, you've got the Max 2, and that is actually quite fairly priced. It's $350 for the device on offer, usually on offer. And then you've got 8K footage, you've got replaceable lenses, you've got magnetic clamp, you've got, I think they've all got 10 bits color, and they've all got log shooting. They've all got pretty much the same, but the GoPro is noticeably cheaper. And then you've got the new entrant to the market, which is DJI. Now, I already have the DJI camera, remember? And cleverly, DJI uses the same batteries in the Action cam as the 360 cam. But, annoyingly, they don't actually have replaceable lenses. So if you have a DJI camera, which is different to GoPro and Insta360, they both have replaceable lenses. If you have a DJI camera and you scratch this lens, and on an Action cam it's flat, right? But on a 360 camera it's a dome. Do you know how easy it is to scratch a domed, protruding lens? If you scratch that DJI, your camera's buggered. You've got to send it back to the factory to get replaced, and at great cost. Whereas on the GoPro and the Insta360, you basically can just twiddle this and this little lens pops off. So I wasn't going to buy Insta360 either, because they'd really done the public a disservice by doing that kind of shady influencer marketing campaign. So I thought, right, well, I'm either going to go DJI and have the same batteries, or go for GoPro. And then I thought, oh, everybody says GoPro's finished, it's the end of GoPro, you know, these are the new future of cameras. And then I just thought to myself, no, I'm going to trust my instincts, and I'm going to probably go for a GoPro. And do you know what? Fate intervened, and as the new GoPro came out in September 2025, a couple of months later, they had old stock to get rid of the GoPro Max 360, which is the predecessor to the Max 2, obviously. And they were selling that discounted from $350 down to $150, or $349, £200 reduced down to $149. An incredible price for a 360 camera. Now, you're going to write in the comments, oh, Sean, but it doesn't do this, doesn't do that. I know what it doesn't do. It doesn't do 8K footage, right? So it's 5.7K, as if that's like not very much. When you reframe the 360-degree bubble of image, you're down to about 1440p, and the new cameras I mentioned are all doing 4K reframed footage, but I don't really give a crap about that. Honestly, this is shooting in 1080p, 25 frames a second. Does this really matter to you that much? Now, the camera has a smaller sensor. It's 1/2.28. The DJI is 1/1.1, and the Insta360 is somewhere in the middle. Now, both the GoPro Max 360, which I've got, and the new one, the Max 2, are I think it's a Sony image sensor that is 1 inch over 2.28. Now, people go, oh, smaller sensor is worse, and you know, less megapixels is worse, but it's a lot more to it than that, really. In light gathering performance, a bigger sensor is usually better. But how many people actually use an action camera in the dark? Like, if you're going moto vlogging, if you're going surfing, if you're going snowboarding, if you're going horse riding, do the majority of those people do that activity in the dark? They don't. So I don't think that light gathering is as big a deal as everybody's saying it is online. The other thing is, of course, that GoPro in daylight recording is usually in head-to-head shown to have the best picture quality. Like if you look at Bingley Wheeler's YouTube channel, he's got a GoPro Hero 12 or 13 on a chin mount, and then he's got an Insta360 action camera, not 360 camera, Ace Pro 2 I think he's got on the handlebars. Look at his forward-facing image. It's jaw-dropping. it just looks stunning, right? And that's because the GoPro daytime picture quality, people say is better. Now, the GoPro, they also say, oh, the battery life is poor. I ran this camera at 5.7K for basically a long bike ride, and it died. And bear in mind, it was 3 degrees because I had the temperature on the dash of this bike. It was 3 degrees, and after 1 hour and 26 minutes of recording, the GoPro ran out of battery. That's a hell of a lot of data to capture at 5.7K. Now my DJI on the chin mount, that lasted over 2 hours. Fair enough, DJI is better for battery performance. And also it was recording 4K, but that was recording 5.7. So it's capturing more data. So I think all of these things about GoPro being bust and that's the end of GoPro are overstated. It's just the difference of the price, really. But what I can get with that, I think, is as good for me as all the other people who are doing the high-end cameras, the flashy cameras, and they've paid, in most cases, 4 times as much. It's crazy. Why would you not buy this little guy? You can still get him actually for $185 on Amazon. Not quite the deal I had, but it's still available. Tech isn't everything when it comes to cameras. What's probably more important is how creative you are in mounting the camera. Because if you mount it just here, on the front of the bike, you're just going to see an image of you, the rider, flat on, or the front scenery flat on, which to be honest is no better than having a chin mounted camera combined with a bike mounted action camera. What you need is this thing here, which is called the selfie stick or 360 stick. I think they're still using the selfie stick terminology. Now the cool thing about it is, I'll just demonstrate, is it's carbon fiber and it's basically an extendable pole that shoots out. This is a company called Telesin that actually sent this to me. So I paid for the camera, but I didn't pay for the mounting hardware. So these you can get anywhere, they're not that actually expensive. It's probably $30 for some of their options. If you want to save even more money, get it in aluminium. You don't need carbon fiber at all. In a way, you'd probably be less worried about damaging it if it was aluminium. And then you also need these 2 double-ended clamps, which I'm using to attach the crash bar of the bike. If I loosen off the middle clamp which holds the ball joints in place, look at this now. This is still attached to the bike. I just get rotation around the ball joint axis, and look at that. I can then put it out to the side. I can make it go down in the front. I can make it go almost vertical, so it's above me. Look at that. It's amazing the flexibility you get with one of these selfie sticks and the 2 mounts. So I'll show you the mount in close detail. But it is really, really cool ability, and it unlocks your creativity because, yes, you've got a camera. I know it's not 4K, but I'm going to get the ability to get loads and loads of different shots. And that, I think, is going to be really, really exciting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go out with this attached to the bike. You have to be careful, actually, that it's not a storm condition, because it says, do not use in thunderstorms, because it acts as a lightning rod, because it's carbon fibre. So there's no storm today, so I'm going to take it out and just see what the footage looks like. Right, I'm back. I've reviewed the footage, and honestly, I'm kind of blown away. That kind of perspective where you have me riding and then you can see it from a side view, it's just mind-blowing. I'm just chuffed. It looks really, really good. I have learned a few bits and bobs though. Number one is that it's probably more important that you're creative and you're correct with where you mount the 360 camera rather than actually what camera you buy. Because even with the best camera in the world, if it's mounted sort of there, it's just going to restrict the kind of impact of your footage. It's going to go from great 360 footage just to average. Now you need something like this. This is the Telesin kit I was talking about earlier with the dual ball mount joints, and it just gives you the flexibility to move this. Obviously, if I undo the mount to the crash bar and put that in a different position, I get more options. I can put it high, I can put it low. And this is the carbon fiber selfie stick, also from Telesin. Now, this is what I've learned is the best way to use it. Out at 45 degrees, capturing the rider front and side, basically. It's a nice angle. But what you don't want to do, I don't think, is go too far out with the selfie stick. So, for example, it does actually come out, just keep going. I think it comes out to 3 meters. I mean, look, it's like Mary Poppins' handbag, isn't it? Just keep going and going. Now, that's kind of comical. It might even be out of shot. But that's the full 3 meters. But if you've got a GoPro on the end of there, it's going to be flying around like a fishing rod, like with something nibbling the end of your bait. You don't really want that, because I think even with stabilization, it's not going to look good. It's just, you're going to see me bouncing and it's just going to look crap. The other thing is, most obviously, that's a hazard to cyclists. It's probably going to be over the other side of the road, cars, pedestrians, you name it, it's going to be dangerous. You'll probably get pulled over by the police if they saw you with this attached to your motorcycle. So, my recommendation is to have it, probably, bear in mind it's 3 meters altogether, with one, the base handle, and then 1, 2, 3, not even 4, so we'll go in one more, and then we'll twist it to tighten. I'd have the handle plus 3 extensions, and that way you get quite a lot of stiffness, doesn't bounce too much, and it's still far enough away to get that nice perspective. I did also try mounting it on the back of the bike. It's a nice look. It's not as good, I don't think, as the front mount system, because you don't see the rider, so you're less kind of engaged. So if I was going to say something, it'd be nice to see me, wouldn't it? Rather than like, if I do this in the video and start saying, oh, look at the tractor over there behind me. Like, it doesn't really bring you in looking at the back of someone's head. So I think this one's the way to go. Now, the Vosges 800 DS has crash protection, which is ideal. Front crash protection high up. That's almost the perfect mounting system for the Telesin two-way clamps. If you didn't have that, you'd have to be more creative, and you'd have to think about an alternative mounting strategy. So it's all up here. It's all about your creativity, and that's what I think I'm really excited about my bargain 360 experiment, because it gives me a chance now to be really creative again. It's not just, right, I'm going out for a ride, chuck the chin mount on, blah, 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 blah. This is something just totally different. I'm stoked by it. It's really, really fun. Yeah, of course, thanks to MotoGP for the bike, which they still haven't collected yet. I'm still riding the Vosges, which I'm still enjoying. I've done 700 miles on it now. And then also thanks to Telesin for sending me only 2 different products, actually. The selfie stick and the double moto clamp. Brilliant pieces of kit, and it's basically made this whole thing possible. All right, guys, hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.